As we prepare to return to in-person instruction, many of us are asking, how will I balance my in-person classroom and my online classroom, whether I'm using Seesaw or Canvas? And so we've asked that question of our distance learning team, who've in turn recorded a short video of how they will use that platform in their class while they're in person. Some have chosen to look at one specific way they'll use that tool, for example, using it for centers or a writing prompt, while others have looked at how they'll incorporate their learning platform into their entire classroom to maintain that rhythm that their students have had all year. We've strung these videos together for you to hopefully help you to work through that issue yourself to see how will you maintain balance in person and online. Cheers.
Hi everyone! My plan for using Seesaw in the classroom is to use it like a center. Now, centers aren't done traditionally where kids are going to be rotating through them constantly because that would be spreading germs. So in between each center, whether that's in the afternoon or in between different activities, this will be sanitized. I will be using my classroom iPad. My classroom has 6, but we also have access to Chromebooks. So our Chromebooks, then all the kids could do it at once. Whatever you have access to in your classroom, that's what I would recommend you use. So what I'm going to do is use them as a center. The kiddos will log on. I wanted to show you what it would look like, but we're having an updating issue because we haven't used these iPads in a year. But when a kiddo goes on to Seesaw on their iPad, there's a way when it's in the classroom, they'll just click and find their name, click, and it'll take them to their activity page and they'll know what to do. So not only can this be used for a center, but it can also be used to differentiate based on what they need. And then I will also have a daily assignment that says daily paperwork, like I do now with our online school. And then kiddos, when they are out because they are sick, if they're out and it's not for COVID reasons and they're gone for 3 days, they can turn in their paperwork that way. My teaching partner and I are planning on printing out and planning out our papers 2 weeks at a time. So if we have to shut down, then those kids can take those papers home and they'll be able to turn them in on that way. And then I can also give feedback and any additional help for those kids on Seesaw as well. So in my classroom, I'm planning on using iPads and or Chromebooks to provide Seesaw as a center. My kids will continue to stay familiar with Seesaw and know how to use that as a tool. And then if they're out sick, they will also be able to use that as a way to turn in work and continue their learning. And then if we all have to leave because the cohort has been contaminated and we're all out for 2 weeks, then we're all still familiar with how to use Seesaw and they'll see me on Zoom like we've done all year. I hope that is helpful. Bye!
Hey there, so I want to show some ways that I will be using Seesaw as we go back to in-person learning. So the first way that I will be continuing to use Seesaw is as a daily lesson plan / overview for students. So I will either use it for myself as a lesson planner, or I will use it as like a daily tasks list for students if they are absent for whatever reason. If they are sick, if they are on vacation, if they're just taking a day off, if we have to quarantine again and go back to online learning, I will have a plan in place already with this daily routines list. So, for example, we will have reading each day, and I will use this as a template and make it more specific for which Journeys lesson we are on for that week. And they will read from their Journeys book, they will practice their sight words, they will read for 20 minutes that day of a book of their choice. And then for math, I will make it more specific of what math lesson we are on, and they will go to Zern and complete their math lesson. They will do their problem set from their math book and their exit ticket that day. I have included a note to students that if there are materials that they need, we can either schedule a time for a packet pickup, or I can send them PDF copies as well for them to print, or I can drop things off. So that will be on a as-need basis. In addition to that, I will be using Seesaw on a daily basis for a small group rotation activity. And so students will use their Seesaw on their computers that day for a few different things. We will practice taking pictures of their writing correctly. For example, a lot of my students will hold their paper up and like this. And they want me to see their face, and so their paper is all over the place or it's blurry. So I will teach them in class how to take a picture of their paper, holding it still so that I see their paper. I would also like to teach students how to type better. A lot of my first graders don't have practice typing, so they will use the text box, or we will use the notes pad in the assignment to practice our typing skills. I might make an activity such as type your first and last name 10 times, or practice typing the ABCs, something simple for first graders. And then every week I will continue using Seesaw for my phonics and comprehension quizzes through Think Central for journeys. So I found that this is the easiest for students, especially when they need the questions or sentences read aloud to them. Seesaw allows me to record my voice ahead of time, and so I can read the questions or sentences for students, and then if they need that extra assistance, they can put their headphones on in class to take the quiz. It's really simple for them to be able to use the pen or pencil tool to circle or color in their correct answer. Thanks for watching.
Hi everyone, this is Stephanie Waters from Pioneer. I want to go over one thing that I am planning on doing in my classroom with Seesaw when we return with students. Something that I am planning on doing with students is this writing journal. And I want to let you know that the contents I put in there, but the writing journal I actually got from Seesaw, from a fellow teacher from the community. So I went into the community tab and I searched for notebooks or tabbed notebooks, and this came up. He had 5 days in it, but right now I only have 4, since we currently have Wednesdays are an asynchronous day, and I like to do writing as an entire class. So probably once we get in the classroom, I'll add back Wednesday in there, so that way there'll be 5 days, but right now that's the reason why there's 4. So I wanted to show you what I am doing, and this is just kind of going to be a template, and that way I can just change it out every week. And the kids can have their writing journal in Seesaw, but they're also, of course, have the actual spiral as well. You'll see what I'm talking about here. So here is their writing journal. So this is the week of February 22nd through the 26th. And for example, we do this every day. So for Monday, we do a 5-minute write. So there is Monday. So during Zoom, we do a 5-minute write, which we're going to do a 5-minute write in the classroom as well. And then they're going to take a photo of their writing, and they're going to use the mic to record themselves reading the story. And they're also going to fill out how many words they wrote, because we're really trying to work on that stamina. So there's Monday. There is Tuesday, same thing. There is Thursday. And again, right now I don't have Wednesday on there. And then Friday, we are doing a Friday letter. The Friday letter is something that they do every Friday, and they have a template to follow, and they just kind of tell me about their week. And it also really helps with friendly letters. And then on Fridays is when they're actually going to submit it. So again, they're still going to write in their spiral at their desk at school, but then I also want to be able to keep it in their portfolio on Seesaw. So that is one thing that I am going to be doing in the classroom, to keep using Seesaw, and to be able to keep all of their writing together. Hopefully you found that helpful. Thank you.
So as we are going back to in-person, and we have a few things that we don't necessarily have complete guidance on, but we do know for sure that we are going to be using Seesaw in second grade and down. And so they want us to integrate those in our in-person learning plans. So this is kind of a setup that I've come up with for my classroom. If you want to use any of the ideas that I have, you are more than welcome to. So when I look at the subjects, I have them over here with reading, writing, math, science, health, social studies, scholastic news, and art. And then on the right, it's how am I going to teach those in person? So when I think about reading, I have already created a reading packet that has the Digging Deeper graphic organizer for each lesson for each week, and then the Write About Reading question, and I pick one of the text-to-text or text-to-self or text-to-word questions that I think best fits that story that week, and I have that in there as well. So on Tuesdays, we do Digging Deeper, on Wednesdays, we do Write About Reading, and Thursdays, we do the text-to-text. And so they'll have that packet so I can use kind of like as a formative assessment and see how they're doing in the classroom, and they're still getting that writing. But when we're doing seat work in reading, I still am going to have them submit tasks through Seesaw. So when we're practicing our phonics or our vocab, grammar, vocab strategies, or answering the essential question, I'm going to have them submit those through Seesaw. And then our assessments every week will still be through Think Central. And then in writing, I have created a writing packet for my students for the rest of the year. And it follows each week, we write a paragraph, and it follows the journeys in the sense of the writing, if it's like the week is narrative, depending on the unit, or informative or opinion. And then the prompt goes along with the story that week. It correlates in a sense. And then on Mondays in the packet, we work through the brainstorm. Tuesdays, we do graphic organizers. Wednesdays, we do a rough draft. Thursdays, we edit and revise. Friday is the final draft for writing. And so that will be in the writing packet, but then they're actually going to daily submit an image to me of each piece that they use. And so I just have a blank submission that I just continually assign to my students in Seesaw. So it's pretty simple. I just keep assigning it to them, and then they can submit on that activity. And then in math, they have a packet that I've created for the rest of the year, and it has their sprints and problem sets in it, because I still want them to physically be writing down their thinking and what they're doing. And the assessment is going to be on paper because I still want to give them that ability to do the two sittings of work so they can work on it, go over it, check what they need to fix, and then give it back to them and have them work on it again. But their exit tickets will still be submitted through Seesaw. And then science and health, I will most likely be doing like discussions or experiments with the class or videos, and then they're going to submit their responses through Seesaw. Social studies, they'll be working on it through Freckle. We might discuss the topic and watch videos or read things, but they will all be submitting in their Seesaw for that as well. And then scholastic news, it's actually kind of cool to be able to discuss it with them and talk about it with them, but then have them submit responses in Seesaw. So I have those there. And then with art, I love being able to do art with my students, but I really like the idea that in Seesaw, it's kind of like a portfolio so they can keep their work. So when they finish their art, they're going to be able to take a picture of it in Seesaw so that they can, show it to their parents or what have you at home, just to kind of have it in there virtually as well as when they're able to take home the actual piece. So that's just kind of what I've come up with as a rundown or work through for my class and for my students right now. I mean, it might change, it might not, but as of right now, this is kind of the idea of what I'm going with. A lot of it is similar to what I'm doing right now, and so hopefully it will transition well to our in-person and kind of keep the same rhythm for students so there isn't too much change as we switch to in person.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Donahue and I'm going to share with you how I plan to use Canvas when we return to in-person learning. So I plan to use one module per week, and each day of the week I have a reading, writing, math, and an elective assignment. So these are must-dos for my kids. These are things I either need them to complete or I need them to submit online onto Canvas. And so here, that was my Monday, here's my Tuesday, my reading, writing, math, elective, same with Wednesday, and then Thursday I have 2 reading assignments, so they have to do this to read the story, and then that's the assignment that goes with it, writing, math, and then elective. And lastly, on Friday they do need to read the story again. I like to have them read the story so it's fresh in their minds, and then take the test, and then writing, math, and then finishing up with their elective. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top for you. Okay, so this module, the way I'm using Canvas for when we return is to have this weekly schedule of assignments, basically just this module in my homeroom course. So when they click on an assignment, it will take them to that actual specific course. For example, if I click on this math exit ticket 4.1, it's a link, it will take me directly to my math course where they can go in and take this exit ticket and submit it here. That's my goal for all of them, basically so they can be in that course still, and I can grade using Learning Mastery Gradebook because I still like to use that as my grading. And this helps if they are absent, they can go into our homeroom course and know that this is where, if they were absent, they can go in and see if all of their work that they missed. Say they just missed Tuesday, they'd know that we did the digging deeper together to work on their pre-write, to do exit ticket 4.2, and then same with their social studies. Okay, I hope this helped. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Heather Gehrett. I'm a 5th grade teacher here at Cascades, and I'm just going to show you a little bit about how to keep Canvas going when we come back in person. So here I've built just a little template for what it could look like for your journey story. And so I would put here the story, the lesson, maybe the dates we're doing it, and then just day 1, obviously we're going to do more than vocabulary notes. We're going to do teacher read aloud, all these things, but this is what the kids are responsible for today, is vocabulary notes. And I might put a copy of my notes here, give them the words, something like that. And then just kind of how your week is going to go, and just put in what makes sense on that page for the kids. This doesn't have to be the assignment if they're going to be doing the assignment in class. All the way down here, and then my students don't turn this in for points. These are practice, but my kids do have points on their vocabulary and comprehension test. So if I click in here, you'll notice that my submission type is on paper. This could also be online through Think Central, whatever makes sense for your class. But it can sync with your gradebook even if they're not doing it on Canvas. For math, I did something very similar. I took module number, topic, letter, not number, and split it up into however many days there's going to be. I have a place here where you can put a copy of the notes. Maybe you're going to add, if they need to do reflex, CERN, whatever else they need to do that day in here, and then their exit ticket. And again, this exit ticket can be taken on Canvas, on paper, on a different website, and it still can have that assignment embedded here on Canvas. So that's just a little bit about how I'm envisioning making the transition back to in-person. Best of luck.
Hello there, everyone. I thought I would spend some time showing you guys how I plan to set up my science module for returning to in-person hybrid model. So the idea here is to continue using Canvas as much as possible for assignment submission, as well as getting information out to students. but also having it set up so that they know what's happening when they do come to school. So I wanted to show you the module I've designed for that hybrid model. Okay. I will still continue to have any instructions at the top, early finisher activities, those kinds of things. And I will continue to build my modules here. Now, just to show you my module right now, I actually have a very basic module where Monday and Tuesday are primarily note-taking days, and we may watch a video or learn about the topic. And Thursday and Friday for me currently are activity days, and so this is where we will do a project or that kind of thing. And then Friday for me is a review fun day, and I usually do a quiz, and depending on what week we may have a writing prompt. Okay, so also on that Thursday I also do a reading, have them read about our topic, and then they answer some reading comprehension questions as an assignment. Okay, so knowing how I have it set up here, I knew I had to design a new module but I still wanted to keep a lot of the same things in here. Reason being because the students have been trained at this point to know what to expect every single week. And so I don't want to stray too much from that. I really want to keep it consistent so the students have a good understanding of what they need to do during the asynchronous time, and so it's not too confusing for them. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll back up, and let me just show you my new module right here. So I actually I just chose a random topic for this, but here's my unit, plant and animal cells. I've got the dates here for when we return. Day 1, notice that I have I have synchronous for header. And that's going to be my synchronous time. Now, students who come on the Thursday, Friday of the week, they will still be able to notice that this is the synchronous stuff that they will be doing when they come on Thursday and Friday. But then I will just mostly teach them to, hey, jump down to the asynchronous stuff because it's Monday and Tuesday, you guys aren't in school. You need to be doing this list of stuff here. Okay, now when we're in school for synchronous, I've actually put headers here for day 1 and day 2. For us right now, Wednesday is not a day in school, and so as a result, I just kind of made it day 1 and day 2. This way, it's not confusing for the students who are Monday, Tuesday versus Thursday, Friday, and we just know that day 1 is that first day that they are in school, and day 2 is that second day that they're in school. Whereas the asynchronous time is simply the list of things they need to do when they're not in school. Okay, so my plan is to do the learning targets, make sure they understand what they are learning, go over some vocabulary, and just kind of introduce the topic to them, and then really spend the majority of the time doing a hands-on experiment. The reason there is because they've been at home, and in science, we really want to make it as much hands-on as possible while they're in the building. Okay, and then day 2 is very similar to day 1, except I have presentations to teach them, and what I would do with this is basically do a very quick presentation, a quick lesson, and have them take notes at the same time, and then do another experiment. So basically in those 2 days, my goal is to have them do 2 hands-on activities that they can enrich their learning. And then I have a notebook check that I regularly do with my students. So they are required on those days in synchronous time to take notes on the vocabulary as well as on the presentation of whatever our topic is. And then I want them to turn in that notebook. And I put this on the day in synchronous simply because I want them to be able to give me their physical notebook if they are using a physical notebook to be graded, or at least I walk around and check it. Most likely for notebook checks, if they're still doing it on a Google Doc, they can easily submit it into Canvas. If they're not, I can manually enter a grade by walking around and checking their notebook. My synchronous time consists of watching a video on the topic, reading about the topic, doing reading comprehension questions based on that reading, and then having a project, a review. Most likely this will be me making a weekly video for a review, and then having them do a quiz on the topic, and then a potential writing prompt. And so my students are used to doing all of this in 1 week, and so I don't think it will change much. Have a nice day.